So last week we had our skull picture with our nice designs. We've had some pencil on the back. We added it to, did a nice tracing right over the top of this, and that pushed down our design onto the black construction paper, all right? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take and start putting some colored pencil on it. So let's get started with that. So once that's in, definitely starting with a white colored pencil. I'm going to go back to just a table surface. And this is a little bit different thinking than we normally draw. When we normally draw, we want to add in the darks and leave the white of the paper. Well, now we have a darker paper, and what we want to do here is leave the darks and add in some of the lights. So I would go in and, not pushing very hard, I would start to shade the outer areas of the skull. Now what's nice about this as well is you can do a little bit of shading with some of this. So I have started one here. All right. And you can see that I have started to leave some of the darks behind. I'll zoom in a little bit so we can see what's going on here. And so these dark areas in between the teeth are areas that I just did not do with the colored pencil. All right, I haven't pushed very hard. I did add a little bit of extra light into the middle of the teeth just so that they look a little bit more three-dimensional. But I'm just going to kind of go in. There's a little bit of a groove here. So I really start out kind of light with my shading, and then I can always go in and add more white to it to make it a little whiter. All right, so you can do quite a few things here with this white colored pencil. Now you'll notice that I have started to add a little color down in here. So I've got a little bit of orange and a little bit of yellow that I've put into the bottom here. And you have to understand that when you put colors down onto a black surface, that they are going to tint a little bit darker. So by all means, I'd like you to start to add some color to what's going on. Some of your darker colors may not show up the greatest. So let me pick a couple dark colors here. All right, I have a navy blue that I will add in here. And so maybe on the cheek areas, I will start to shade in with that navy blue. Now navy blue is already a darker kind of color, but on the black it is going to be even more pronounced, that it will be more, that it'll have that darker tone to it. So I can always go in with a little bit of white and lighten up that navy blue. You just got to make sure that you understand that the colors are not going to be true to what they look like in there. I could also mix in another color with it. I might go in with a little bit of green and try to mix with that navy blue. And if you're not sure how they're going to look, you can always test it out on the back of your black paper just to get an idea of how those colors are going to look onto the black. So I've got a little green in there, and I've got a little bit of the blue. I'm going to go back over, and I may even hit it with a little bit of white, but I think I'm going to save that white for around it. All right, so the color will be slight in there. You want to really focus on making sure that you're giving your skull a little bit of dimension by showing the lights and the darks, and always start off kind of lighter and work your way to getting a brighter and brighter white. So I know it's a different type of thinking from that we're normally used to when we're drawing. We always want to start those dark shadows, but now we're working with light, and we're trying to show those the best we can. So I'm going to go and work on this one a little bit. Again, if there's some dark areas, then we kind of leave those alone. We can always go back in and touch them up. Let's say that you've messed up and you've covered up a dark area. You can lightly go in with a little bit of black, and you can kind of touch up those areas. Do not rely on this to save your drawing, but it is a nice little tool to go in and kind of clean up some rough edges. Again, you're going to notice that the colored pencil will probably be a little darker than the construction paper. And if it hits some of the other colors, like this white, it may turn it into more of a grayish tone. So it's not there to improve your picture because of maybe you forgot that that was supposed to be a dark area, but it will help a little bit in correcting a few little mistakes. And you can see some of my pencil lines in here. I don't know how well they show up on camera. Not too bad, but you can always go in and erase those. All right. So I'm going to work a little bit on this, show you some shading, and then we'll go from there. Okay, great job. You're finishing up adding the color, the white and the different colored pencils to there. Like I said, some of those colors are not going to be true to what you see on the colored pencil. Adding a little white, using that black to help touch up some things, and then getting a little creative as you're going. My eyes, I went in and added those stripes to there, and I added a little bit of clovers into the eyes themselves. Put a little white in some of my triangles there. So as you're going, just because you drew it that way on the white paper doesn't mean it can't change a little bit when you get to the final. So always push yourself, try to get a little bit more creative in there, and then that is it for this week. That's what we are finishing up on, and we're starting something new next week. So enjoy the rest of your week, have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week.